But one team and one player whose season is over, and that is Jaylen Brown and the Celtics. Of course, they lost that tough Game 7 to the Sixers Saturday. They were favored to win the East. They failed to make it out of the first round. But Jaylen Brown had a lot to say on a Twitch stream the other day, including this.
So proud of this group and the way we played. I wish we trusted that style of play a little bit more, but I know playoffs kind of shifted our rotations and what we wanted to do. But I'm so proud, and it was my favorite year of my basketball career.
Okay, so that got a lot of people sort of shaking their heads in some confusion. The two things, I sort of wish we had trusted that a little more in the playoffs, whatever that is that he's referring to, and then his favorite year of his career. Jay, Will, what was your reaction to him saying that?
I think Jaylen Brown is one of the best players in the league. I also think he's one of the most intelligent. I think there was a lack of awareness for Jaylen Brown as a leader, and I still think there's a ton of room for growth for him in that category. Understanding the circumstances of how everybody in the media feels about him and Jason Tatum. For him to say, and it's fine if you feel that this was your greatest year, but you have to know, like, I can feel a lot of things about a lot of people at ESPN. If I say them out loud, I have to understand there are repercussions for what my thing is, my opinion, for saying them out loud.
Right.
And that continues to pour gasoline on the fire of the greatest year actually being the year that these two won a championship together, in which he got Eastern Conference MVP, in which he got NBA Finals MVP. And it enhances that story when I don't know if there's a reason why it needs to be said out loud.
Yes, my favorite year of my career is the year that Jason was hurt and basically didn't play most of the season. Almost everyone is going to react to it that way, whether he meant it that way or not. What did you think of it?
I'm a big Jaylen Brown fan.
Same.
Much of the year, if the vote had gone a month earlier, I had him first for a long time for MVP.
Yeah.
I wound up putting him third, after Joker second and SGA first. And I thought Jaylen Brown had a great year. We know that. I'm trying to figure out if there was some context there to help provide. I'm trying to help him out, Jay, because I'm with you. Lack of awareness.
I listened to it. He pivoted off to another subject at the end of that. And that's...
But I mean context in his head.
Okay.
So Jason Tatum is out most of the year. He had to carry that team. He had to be the guy. He didn't have his tag team partner, and they did it. Boston was maybe the pleasant surprise of the season to be without Jason Tatum that long, and Jaylen Brown was carrying that thing. So maybe that's what he meant. I'm trying to give him benefit of the doubt because Jay put it perfectly. It's a lack of awareness. Jaylen Brown's too smart to do that. You know the repercussions. You can say it, you can feel it, but you know what's going to come from that. Mm-hmm. And so now, going forward with the Celtics, we're going to start re-examining all this again, right, Jay?
Yep.
The lid is off, and we're going to get into this next year, particularly if that team doesn't rebound and get back to championship form.
Let me get the Windman in on this. Windy, you watched as this conversation sort of picked up steam as the day went on yesterday. What's your reaction to it?
I'm still recovering from the great Michael Wilbon not having Victor Wembanyama in his top 3 on the MVP ballot.
I had him 4. Who was I going to take out, Wendy? Who was I going to take out?
Well, don't get us sidetracked. We'll argue about that one later.
We got to go back.
How about Jaylen Brown?
I was actually thinking about Pat Riley when I heard this because Pat Riley, the older I get, the more I realize that David Stern and Pat Riley are really smart, quite frankly. And Pat Riley always talks about the disease of me or the disease of more. And you see it when a player or a team wins a championship. The players who have a lot individually always want team success, and players who have team success tend to always want more individually. And that's been particularly a challenge for Jaylen Brown, who feels like he is, even though he's got a $300 million contract and a Finals MVP, he feels like he's been slighted. He feels like he was slighted with no shoe deal. He feels like he's been slighted with, not being, getting more individual accolades, not making the Olympic team, things of this nature. And so I think the spirit of what he was saying was the way the Celtics approached this year with all these young guys and these new faces getting bigger roles, and that was the most enjoyable part of his career. But the thing about it is that once Jason Tatum came back and looked really good, it no longer became about that. It now became about trying to win a championship and no longer featuring Jaylen. And I think he didn't enough respect how the season shifted and how this is a lost opportunity more than anything.
And they had a 3-1 lead in this series and wound up losing. But you live in the tabloid world of the New York media. This obviously is the kind of thing that would reverberate like crazy.
No matter how you try to explain it, guys, it's bold type headline in Boston. And that's been a problem because winning that championship a couple of years ago should have been the end of the Tatum-Brown debate and the arguments and the conversations about who's more important. That should have been over. What Jaylen Brown did was breathe life into it on his own personal accord, on his own social media. He was at a podium after the series ended. He talked to the media in those situations, never once said anything like this. But in a private moment, well, not private, but in his own moment where he controls the message, he chose to say something like that now has created a new conversation or renewed a conversation in Boston about their two stars.
You know what it reminds me of? And this is, I hope this is an analogy that many of the people watching are old enough to remember. But the one year that Michael Jordan was off playing baseball, Scottie Pippen, I have always said, should have been the MVP of the league.
94.
93, 94.
Agreed. He was MVP
unbelievable.
of the All-Star game.
Carried them that year.
Yep.
They lost to the Knicks on a terrible call in a game 5. We won't relive all of that.
Bring it up. I'm still angry about it.
Hugh Hollins and all of that.
Yeah.
But let's not. The point I'm making is, and unfortunately, whatever the relationships are there now kind of clouds all of that. But in an honest moment, I wonder, even though Scottie Pippen won championships in 6 other seasons, if that wasn't the one that he enjoyed the most, because it was all him. He was the central part of that team, and they overperformed. They achieved more than most people thought that they would. They had a great year, and he was the star of it. Now, again, he had 6 other seasons that ended in championships, so no one wants to hear him say, actually, that was my favorite year. That's kind of what this made me think of.
And that's what I was talking about the context in his head, particularly without Jason.
Right.
And as Wendy just said, all these young players who need to be led. Now, the question is, can he be that leader with a full team with Jason there? We still don't know that. We don't know that about him. He certainly did in that series, the finals, in which he was the NBA Finals
MVP. Yeah.
But this is one point. There are guys, and Greeny, you got me thinking about this. Look, Scottie Pippen, I know pretty well. Scottie has always been incredibly sensitive. Remember, they're diagramming a play to play against the Knicks in the playoffs, and Scottie sat when Phil diagrammed the play for Tony Kukoc.
1.8 seconds in Game 3. Yep.
Okay, so the sensitivity was very real. It had its destructive moments, but that was overshadowed incredibly by 6 championships and all the other stuff and all defensive teams and all the things Scottie did. With Jaylen Brown, they're too good. They're too good to sort of recede into this, aren't they?
I hope so, and I think they will be. That final thought from you on Jay is that, do you think this just, everything will be, I mean, this is one of those things that will be a tempest in a teapot and then just goes away, or is this something that you think sort of sticks around and is a thing going into next year?
I think we all have seen relationships where you just feel that there's something underlying. And I think this is, once again, it rises that to the top. And by the way, for any young people out there, when you go on Twitch and you're just streaming for an hour and a half and you have consciousness of, stream of consciousness, like, just be careful what you let loose of.
Yes.
Like, it's not a therapy session.
I'm always extremely careful when I stream on Twitch.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there streaming thinking, boy, I better watch what I say.
Therapy is private for a reason.
Yes, I understand.
Not meant to happen in front of the public.
That's exactly right. When we go to a break, someone will explain to me how I would stream on Twitch. Meanwhile, as we look ahead to tonight's games, it is time for Hitting the Mark, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, Alan Hahn, Lakers and Thunder, you like SGA to score at least 30 tonight.
Yeah, because I just don't know how they're going to stop him. Obviously, A, he's got rest. B, he's going to draw a lot of fouls. He's impossible to guard. 30 will be easy for him.
All right, next up, LeBron, 8 or more rebounds. You say yes.
Yes, because there's going to be a lot of rebound opportunities. He's going to have to do everything. He's also a guy that's playing off a little bit of rest. And in Game 1, you want to see him basically just empty the tank in this game to keep his team competitive. He has to be everything.
And then in the East game, you've got Cade Cunningham knocking down at least 3 threes.
They're going to keep him out of the paint. There's a lot of size in the front line for the Cavs. So he's averaging 3 threes a game already in the playoffs. See him on the perimeter. A lot of Max Strus trying to keep him out as well.
So those are the picks. SGA over 30 points, LeBron 8 boards, Cade Cunningham at least 3 threes. If you like the picks, they're a parlay with odds of plus 606. right now at DraftKings Sportsbook. Coming up, more on the Knicks statement. Are they going to win the East? Could they actually win a championship for the first time in more than half a century? We dive in as we continue. And this reminder, on DraftKings Sportsbook, all customers can get a profit boost every day of the NBA playoffs. Download the app and use the promo code GETUP when you sign up. All right, Windy, here we go. You got Hembo yesterday. Let's see how we do, and you're going to love this one, Wilbon. Who was the last coach